Hey, what's up, guys? It is Dan from FightWave, and today I'm joined by somebody who a lot of you guys have been wanting me to speak with for quite some time, and I'm happy to say that I can oblige. And today I can bring you guys an interview that the fans and you guys have been wanting for such a long time now. Ever since I interviewed Dricus du Plessis, the #1 comment I've been getting on my YouTube is interview Cam Saaiman, interview Cam Saaiman. And today I'm lucky enough to be able to be joined by somebody who is making waves in the 135-pound division, somebody who everybody has a tentative eye on, and is one of the best young talents coming up in the world from South Africa, from CIT Training Center, Cameron Saaiman. How are we doing today, my brother?
Awesome. Happy to be here, and that might be the best intro I've ever gotten, so thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. And, we got to do it right when we're speaking to Cameron Saaiman. Obviously, my love for you and Dricus in terms of what you guys have done in the sport has been unmatched, I think, to a lot of other fighters, because you guys are probably two of the hardest workers I think I've seen in MMA in recent memory, really letting your results speak for yourself, and just good people all around. Talk to me, obviously, about how you're feeling. I know it's been a hectic week, flying into Vegas. Talk to me just about how you're feeling right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. It's amazing to be back in Vegas. It feels like my second home by now. Every single time we come for about 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. So, it's great to be here. It's great to come even earlier than last time, just to make sure that we climatize well, get used to the weather here. And, fight night is close to 10 days away or 11 days away, so I'm very excited. I can't wait, not only for myself but also to see Dricus perform in front of a stacked T-Mobile arena. So I'm very ecstatic.
And yeah, definitely. And obviously, your original opponent, I think opponent we were really excited to see you fight in the form of Christian Rodriguez. That fight obviously fell through, but the UFC was quick in getting you another opponent. Talk to me about just the preparation, because it was not so much short notice, but still relatively short notice as opposed to the full camp for Christian. Talk to me about just the adjustments you've made, and obviously just preparing a whole different ball game, or just the preparation that's gone underway for this new opponent.
Yeah, definitely. It was super unfortunate to hear that Christian had to pull out due to injury. We still don't know what the injury was, but, most of my camp was preparing for him. I think that would have been a great fight as well. But at the end of the day, we try and improve all aspects of the game. And thankfully for that, we go into fights with a sort of a game plan for an opponent, but we are very open-minded when it comes to training in that camp. So really looking to improve all aspects of the game, and that's going to help me again with this sort of short notice opponent change. We'll be ready for anything, whether it goes to the ground or stays on the feet. We'll be ready for a finish.
No, yeah, absolutely. And obviously fighting Terrence Mitchell at UFC 290, a phenomenal matchup, all things considered. UFC really did a great job in terms of setting up a new opponent, and somebody who will still be a great victory should you get the win at UFC 290. And then more importantly, obviously, I think it can't go without saying the relationship that you have with Dricus du Plessis. I mean, you look back as far as, 10 years ago, 8-9 years ago, you guys, from your amateur circuit debut to his, him being just around 21, 22, 23 years old, the time has flown by for both of you. From very early on in both of your guys' careers, you have been in each other's corner. From him almost being that older brother kind of figure, that mentor kind of figure, to you being the young buck coming up. And I think it's the best of both worlds for the South African fans to have the young buck and the championship contender right now to support. Talk to me about your relationship, obviously, with Dricus as friends, as training partners, and as teammates, and just how he's impacted you and how maybe you've impacted him in the gym, and just the friendship you guys have.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. We've been. I met him when I was 14 years old, so I was a kid, and don't let the baby face fool you. I'm much older now, so we've come a long way. He was in my corner when I won my first national championship title fight back in South Africa in kickboxing. So he was there, and he traveled all the way from Pretoria to Durban just to be there for what essentially was maybe 3-4 rounds of fighting. So it's absolutely amazing. He was there with my first junior title, senior title as an amateur. He was there with my professional first title with the EFC. So we've always been there for each other. I was there when he won his first title, and then the second, and then the one after that. So it's really great to have not only a good friend but a massive mentor in your corner. And I speak for a whole team in Team CIT back home, but he is really the driving force of that team, and he's the guy that everyone looks up to a lot and looks to emulate the work ethic and the mindset. So it's been an amazing journey, and it's always great to share fight cards as well, to be able to come as one group and enjoy each other's company just before the fight, and obviously enjoy each other's company after the fight as well. So it makes me super grateful for this opportunity once again. It's International Fight Week, and we will be looking to put on amazing performances for everyone watching, and we'll both get finishes come fight night.
Absolutely, and I know that you and Dricus, I think it goes without saying, probably one of the best pairings in mixed martial arts at the current moment in terms of teammates, in terms of just how you guys conduct your business together. I mean, I think when you think of South African MMA, obviously you guys are two of the top guys that come to mind, alongside names like Don Madge, like JP Bays, like Gareth McClellan. Just the list goes on and on. So many guys coming out of South Africa right now. But I think more importantly, Team CIT really leading the charge with Dricus at the forefront, obviously one fight away from the title in most people's eyes, or I think just in general, obviously a win over Robert Whittaker would make him undeniable. And more importantly, I think somebody who leads by example, more like obviously there was the recent controversy, but I think the way that he conducted himself is exemplary for how a martial artist should conduct himself when obviously mainstream factors come into play and stuff like that. You see him on the day-to-day and you get to work with him. Talk to me just about, the day-to-day training sessions. What's that's been like in Vegas, like you guys are getting acclimated to the weather right now a little bit. How is it like Fight Week with Dricus? Like the training vibes, obviously jokes are at an all-time high. When I interviewed him, he mentioned the fit, I think it was for you with all the fouls, which I'll get into in just a moment. Yeah. It was like he could be a women's self-defense instructor and be like that. So I can imagine banter's at an all-time high. How is Fight Week like with Dricus?
Yeah, definitely. I think if there's one guy that needs to get a low blow, it is Dricus for bringing that up once again. So I'll make sure to sort him out. He's somewhere down there, in poolside, so I'll go grab him by the neck after the incident. But no, it's absolutely, it's amazing. It's great to see the driving force in the group training sessions back home, and then once we travel here, it gets very kind of tunnel visioned with our opponents in mind. So we are very fortunate to have one of our training partners, Mark Yu, who will most definitely be one to watch in the welterweight division. And if he does not get his UFC contract very soon, I'm going to be rioting outside the Apex. I'm going to be there chanting. So having him here, having him join us, and just focusing on the opponents at hand is great. It's great for the focus just to be able to simulate situations where we might find ourselves in the fight. And just like I said, we are, at the end of the day, we are trying to do it as professional as possible. So we came a lot earlier to be here to make sure our bodies are ready with this weather, because it is also quite overwhelming. But just making sure we are early here. Preparation has been at an all-time high. The momentum in the camp has absolutely been amazing. And the godfather of Team CIT, Coach Morne Visser, will be coming back, will be joining us in Vegas tomorrow. So I can't wait for him to join us as well. And with about essentially 13 days out from fight night, all the preparation is coming together nicely. It's like a puzzle just forming itself, and you'll see a great performance come fight night.
No, yeah, definitely. And even just then, you mentioned a great performance. I think with every performance that you've given, just leveling up in terms of skill set, I think with everyone from South Africa, I think I can speak for the fans just in the States and just fans of mixed martial arts as a whole, that the sport, it has evolved so much in a lot of other countries, but in South Africa in specific, the evolution of the sport has almost skyrocketed at an exponential rate. With the EFC promotion not only just no longer being a standalone promotion in South Africa, but taking its talents outside of South Africa, becoming such a big South African-based promotion that it can go to other countries. And then also just talent-wise, from a time where maybe it was only Gareth McClellan in the UFC to now having 3, 4, 5, 6 guys slowly making their way up or already in the UFC. It's been a phenomenal time to watch South African mixed martial arts. Obviously you got Don Madge in the PFL, JP Bai's also in the UFC. You've got guys like Dalcha Lungiambula, Themba Garimbo, who've had some time in South Africa. It's becoming a hotbed for mixed martial arts. What are your thoughts on this evolution? Because you've kind of overseen it from your very young amateur fighting days to now where you're a professional fighting in the UFC. What's this evolution meant to you to see this firsthand?
Yeah, it's great to see these guys, especially like a lot of these guys are moving from more of the northern countries to South Africa for training. So guys coming from Zimbabwe, Botswana, guys coming from Angola. I have a lot of Angolan teammates who are some of the best athletes in the world. They have just not gotten the type of opportunity to showcase those skills, which is quite sad, but also quite exciting because you have now these guys paving the way. Like you said, Gareth McClellan was probably one of the standout guys to first do that, and now obviously Drick is making waves in the middleweight division. That's opened up the opportunity for me to go onto the Contender Series, and I'll look to showcase the skills we have in South Africa and further develop that road into the UFC. So hopefully that motivates the guys back home as well. I think you mentioned the recent controversy, but at the end of the day, we are just super proud to be able to do it from our home, which is our home. We wake up there every single day. So it's great to be able to not have to move to another country to be able to be successful in the sport. I can wake up in the same town that I was born in. I can go to training and I can compete at the highest level against some of the best guys in the world. And you see that developing a lot in smaller countries. You see like the Georgians, you see Ilya Tupiria, you see Merab Dashvili coming from a very small country, going to other areas and, making a massive success for their home country. And we are just proud to be able to do that, but also do that while training in South Africa. So it's very motivating, and I'm super excited to see the talent brewing in South Africa. We have a great kids program back home called Little Legends. I'm the head of the Little Legends program in Pretoria, and seeing these kids, perform age 5, 6, 7 years old, starting their MMA journeys essentially is scary. It's going to be sick to see, 10, 15, 20 years from now, how the sport has developed in our country. And, Team CIT will always be the leading factor in that. I think if you want to be a successful professional athlete in South Africa, you better your chances quite exponentially when you join Team CIT. So I'm excited for the future.
No, yeah, and I think a perfect answer. And more importantly, I love what you prefaced there, because I was one of those guys who was quite vocal. I thought that Dricus hadn't really done anything wrong, but as you know, like conventional media, they love to take things out of context, twist the words. But I felt like what he said really resonated with me, because, you look at the fighters, obviously, I can even imagine for you, waking up in your, like you said, like your home city where you were born, waking up in your own bed, being able to go to your training center just a block or two down from your house, it's got to feel some sort of way, a phenomenal feeling. And not just that, but South Africa being a vessel for all of these other African countries to really develop their mixed martial arts and sort of have this ripple effect and this kind of wave or cause and effect where people come and train in South Africa, and because they confide and they trust that the system will lead them to a better place in the sport, they can immediately improve their country's sporting and their country's mixed martial arts, team and their country's mixed martial arts representation as a whole. So for me, it's been one of those things that I feel like you really never truly appreciate it until you're in one of these countries, because obviously in the States, there's all different sorts of like training facilities, and people can go to American Top Team, they can go to Extreme Couture. These gyms are readily available in the States, but somewhere like South Africa where there's at least just one gym like Team CIT, it makes all the difference in homegrown talent, and it makes the connection between the fighters more fulfilling. Like you said, being a coach, being able to raise these guys and these young kids who are up and coming, make them your future training partners, people that you can train with, maybe look up to when they get their shine. It's a very fulfilling process, and I think that you and Dricus have done a phenomenal job alongside the staff at CIT thus far in doing that. And also, in terms of just being an inspiration to the youth, Cameron, you're only 22 years of age. You know, I'm about to turn 21, and like what you've done thus far in the sport at such a young age, it's phenomenal, dude. It's like unheard of to see somebody so established. I mean, at such a young age, you have such a great buzzing skill set. Talk to me about the reception you've gotten just from pros and just from people around you that look at you and they say, holy shit, this kid's only 22, 23, and he's making absolutely amazing statements in the octagon, fighting like a seasoned veteran. What does that reception feel like?
It's great, you know. I'm flattered. Sometimes I forget my age as well, you know. So it's really I hold myself to a high regard in terms of my performances, and sometimes you can see that. You can see me visually frustrated in the cage, and you can see like I really want to go out there and I want to put on the best possible performance, and I really want to finish fights. I'm going to be finishing fights. I'm going to be finishing my next fight, but I'm going out there with a very high standard, and I want to keep myself to that high standard. Just like in training, I am very fortunate to be standing on the shoulders of giants at Team CIT. So it makes the preparation and it makes the fight even easier. So going out there, having a very high standard of what I want to achieve in the cage is always the goal, and I want to meet that standard, and I will be doing that come fight night, come UFC 290. I'm going to be looking for a finish. We're going to be finishing that fight, and I want to be able to leave Vegas the day after with a smile on my face, with no type of question marks surrounding the performance, and this is a great opportunity for me to show that, and I'll show that come fight night.
No, yeah, definitely. I love the thing that you mentioned is like you're your own worst critic, because obviously I think just the circumstances surrounding your fight, you had some phenomenal moments in your fight with your striking, but obviously the fouls are kind of overshadowing that, and I think me and a lot of people above anything else would love to see you just go in there, make a statement performance, and leave no doubts in the fans' mind. You know, fans obviously they can be very fickle and they can kind of nitpick at the details, but what are some of the adjustments? And obviously, I know Dricus probably banters around it a little bit, and you're probably going to have a chat with him after this in the pool. Maybe throw him in the pool real quick. What'd you say, Dricus? Yeah. Just throw him in the pool. But, you know, just talk to me about the adjustments you've made, because I can imagine only how frustrating it is as a competitor to have great performances kind of knocked down a notch because of, you know, fouls or things that you don't obviously intend to happen in the octagon. So what's the kind of how do you kind of work around that? Because you can't really expect fouls, but has there been tweaks to your fighting style or anything like that to kind of try to avoid or mitigate these for the time being?
Well, I think a good start will be for Terence Mitchell to make weights. If he does that, he's not so safe, you know. So I think we can start with that. If he properly makes weights, there will be no groin strikes, you know. So no, but all jokes aside, I think it's just like small adjustments. So once I get in there, it's I have a high pace of fighting. Obviously, everyone does at the lighter weights, but I really do think that the overwhelming pressure and speed is something that I'm very good at applying in the fight. And doing that, with that comes a lot of type of things, not only that you're thinking about, but obviously very quick movements. Sometimes, you know, your aimbot is not on quite yet, so I'll be looking to either go very high or very low with some of those strikes, just to make sure that the whole midsection is quite avoided. And other than that, I'm not worried about that. I know in my preparation that's not something I train. It's not something I do. It's I never, you know, hit training partners in the balls, but it happens. So
it happens, yeah.
At the end of the day, it's not something that I'm really focused on with this fight. Obviously, I do not want that to happen again, and it won't happen again. But hopefully, you know, come fight night, it's going to be so quick. There's not going to be enough time for fouls as well.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, all jokes aside, obviously, not something any fighter wants, but I think how you've kind of conducted yourself despite, you know, kind of like the outroar of of the fans, how they can be. I think it's phenomenal, and I think obviously you can't really train for that. It's not really something you can plan for. It kind of just happens. But like you said, having a performance at UFC 290 that leaves no doubts in the fans' mind and shows that you are the next up-and-coming lighter weight fighter from South Africa to keep an eye on. And then more importantly, you mentioned earlier adjusting to obviously the weather and acclimating. I want to ask you I know you and Dricus have obviously came to the States a few times. How does the outdoors in the States compare to the South African outdoors? Because I know you and Dricus are very big into going out in nature. You have obviously photos of you going paddleboarding or you going in the raft and just, being in nature and surrounding yourself in that environment. How has it been like adjusting to the climate in the States as opposed to South Africa? And does the States nature kind of stack up to that beautiful South African outdoors?
I must say, like, we haven't like gotten a lot of chances to, really do like a hiking trail here in Vegas. I think of what we have seen, we've really tried to go out there. But we've never gotten the time. So when we're here, we're quite in the city, busy with, fight preparation, interviews, all the media obligations around the fight night. So going back to South Africa, you can literally fly an hour down to another city, and it's like a woody rainforest area, and you can fly 2 hours west and you can be in a desert. You can stay in where we are in Pretoria. There's like a bushveld type of area. Our drive north to Limpopo is also just like very wild bushveld, like hunting areas as well. So you can get a healthy mix of just about any weather and any type of terrain that you would like to hike in. So we enjoy that quite a lot. Drickus, he grew up on a farm. I grew up in the city. He grew up on the farm as well. So being outdoors is a massive part of just our day to day, and we almost bring that type of priority to Vegas. So we spend a lot of time outdoors. We walk the strip of Las Vegas, which is quite fun, and we try and keep busy with activities while we are here. And I think one of the things I really want to do while in Vegas is I want to go play a round of golf. I enjoy that quite a lot, but man, this Vegas sun is a terror. So I need to bring a umbrella or just coat myself in sunscreen. But I still want to do that.
No, yeah, absolutely. I love how you mentioned Top Golf because I'm in the next state over. I'm in California, and we don't really we don't have that Top Golf, but Vegas, that's got to be on the bucket list, like just to go hit a round of golf. And more importantly, like right now it's super hot outside in California and in Vegas, summer heat. But regardless, just a phenomenal thing just to be outside in nature, take a step back from fighting, and really just dial back sometimes when obviously training can be too intensive, recovery days. Always nice to be out in the amazing outdoors, and I have no doubt South Africa is probably one of the most beautiful places in the world. A blessing to be from there. And first and foremost, Cameron, I want to thank you so much for your time. It's been an honor to finally just sit down and get this done with you. I have to say I'm a big fan of your fighting style and just of what you've done thus far in your young career. At only 22, 23 years of age, you've really shown that if you are diligent from a young age and if you are committed, you can make it to the highest level and continue to build on that. And I guess just the final question for you is, obviously, it's very tough to project the result of a fight, but assuming all goes well at UFC 290, are there any goals to step back in the octagon once or twice, maybe in the States, maybe abroad in Europe or international events? What's the goal for that? And then any personal goals, because I know you also run your show or your podcast, the MSP show, MSP podcast. Talk to me about that and just any personal goals with that or anything for you. What's some goals that you have for the second half of 2023?
Yeah, definitely. The fight is going to be finished all and done in 2 rounds. That is a definite. You can put your money on that. No, not financial advice, but 2 rounds and then I'm out of there. And going back to South Africa, we have the MSP show, which is an absolute pleasure. We have actually a big lineup of guests that we are looking to have on as well in person in the studio, and I'm looking forward to doing that. Obviously, with a fight announcement, that tarnishes quite a lot of my scheduling for that, because obviously my pro career comes first. But I can't wait to go back to South Africa. I can't wait to see my family. They are about a 2-hour flight from where I stay. So just connecting with my family in an area called George, a beautiful area close to close to the ocean, in South Africa. So, spending some time with my family, maybe going to Bahrain to go visit my father as well. And those are some of the things that are in the pipeline. So I'm going to be taking off a few weeks, 1 or 2 weeks maximum, and then we'll be back into full training camp, because I really, really, really want to be on that Abu Dhabi card. It's one of the cards that I was there with Dricus's debut on Fight Island at the Yas Marina as well. So it was one of those cards that I really want to be a part of, and I'll be ready come October. So if I have a call out in mind once I finish Terrence Mitchell, and I think he'll oblige. So I think that is definitely a doable fight. And I'll call Sean Shelby and ask him very nicely if we can do that. So yeah, I just want to thank you.
I love how you have the call out in mind too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's one of those guys, like, someone's has to go. After this, I'm 9-0. He's undefeated. So let's see what happens, and hopefully we can put all the chips on the board in Abu Dhabi. That would be absolutely sick. So
yeah, definitely. And sorry to interrupt. I was saying you're gonna thank some people too. I know that. Apologies for interrupting.
Oh, no problem at all. I just want to thank you. Thank you so much. Your page is absolutely awesome.
Thank you, man.
I'm a massive fan of the page before you even messaged me as well. So it's great to see the exposure as far and wide, not only like the UFC's accounts, but all these other accounts getting involved. And thank you so much to all the fans, the FightWave fans, obviously my fans, and the UFC fans, for making this possible, because we're going to keep on, showcasing our talents. We're going to hopefully put on exciting fights people enjoy. And I think it's just going to get better from here. We are only getting started.
No, yeah, definitely. And I think the best of the takeover from South Africa has yet to begin. And, it all starts UFC 290, I think, with a win over Robert Whittaker for Dricus and a win over Terrence Mitchell for you, Cameron. And I thank you so much for your time, for your great energy. And obviously, somebody that you mentioned, you thank me. I just want to thank you first and foremost for what you've done for the younger generation, being a vessel and an inspiration for us, obviously at a time where fans are up and coming fighters and kids don't really have that role model to look up to, and you being an exemplary example for the younger generation of how far you really can come from someone born in the 2000s. I feel like now we're gonna be the old ones, 2002 and 2000, but somebody more or less just an inspiration for the guys in our generation coming up. And for that, I mean, thank you so much for everything that you've done thus far, and I look forward to watching you fight at UFC 290. And to the fans at home watching, do be sure to check out Cameron Saaiman on social media. Do be sure to check out the MSP show. I think, honestly, probably one of the best produced shows from a fighter out there right now. Easily one of the best produced shows. Do be sure to check that out. Check Cameron Saaiman out on social media and at UFC 290 against Terrence Mitchell. And yeah, it's been me, Dan, from FightWave, guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this interview. Do be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day, guys.